and welcome to today's episode of Clovenstone Kitchen. I hope you're going to enjoy cooking along with me at home. I grew up with an Irish mother and a Scottish father, but my accent definitely gives away the fact that I was brought up in Yorkshire. So tonight I'm going to do something which is a firm favourite in our whole household, toad in the hole, and show you hopefully my Yorkshire pudding recipe, which the vast majority of the time seems fairly foolproof. So we'll see how we get on. So first of all, our ingredients. So we're aiming to cook this for 4 people tonight. So you need 200 ml of milk, 200 grams of plain flour, 4 eggs, about 8 sausages, and then I always like to do a bit of gravy with this, so a bit of gravy powder if you've got it. And as far as serving it alongside some veg, it's really your choice, but tonight we're going to go for carrots and broccoli. So whenever I make this, I make sure that the sausages are par cooked before I put them in the Yorkshire pudding. It makes them taste a bit nicer, gives them a sort of crispier skin, and also just makes sure they're cooked through. So you're going to want to preheat your oven to about 200 degrees to start with. So whatever sausages you've got is fine. I'm just using frozen ones this evening, so I'm just going to get them on the tray. And like I say, the cooking time for these is usually about 25 minutes. So I'll probably just pop them in the oven for 15. So while those sausages are cooking, we're going to focus on our Yorkshire pudding batter. So you just want to take a big mixing bowl, pour in the flour, just like that. And then you want to crack the 4 eggs, just into the flour. Try and grab any shell as it's going in. Then you just take the milk and you can pour the milk straight in as well. Now, ideally it's good to have a whisk at this point, but if you have a fork you can do it and you just keep going. So just gently to start with, I'm just going to break up the eggs and just mix the flour a bit. Now, what we're aiming for is a smooth batter. Okay, so it usually takes a couple of minutes just to get all the flour in and get all the lumps away. Okay, that's about right. So you can see all the lumps have gone. You can see the consistency of it, and actually I just give it usually a quick extra beat just to try and get as much air in as possible. I don't know if it actually makes a difference to Yorkshire pudding rising, but I feel like it does. So once the batter's done, it's good to be able to just pour it into the thing. So what I'll often do is just pour it back into a small jug if you've got one, but you can always just pour it straight from the bowl. Also just make sure that we've got no shell left there. Make sure you get it all. If you want, you can make the batter in advance and just put a bit of cling film over it and store it in the fridge, or if not, it's just ready to go. Okay, as far as veg goes, it's a bit of a controversial subject in our house, especially my little boy. So I'm going to try and get him to have some carrots and broccoli tonight. So I'm just going to peel and chop the carrots and just prepare the broccoli, and I'll just put those in hot water just while the sausages and Yorkshire pudding are cooking. Okay, that's my veg prepped. I obviously gave everything a good wash before I started. So all I'll do is boil a bit of water and boil the veg for 10 to 15 minutes, depending how you like it. Okay, the sausages have nearly done the first 15 minutes and we've got our veg prep, so let's talk about the Yorkshire pudding. It's up to you which dish you cook it in. You can use one big large dish or several smaller dishes. I quite like the crust that goes around the edge of the Yorkshire pudding, so I tend to use 2 slightly smaller dishes to do it. But that's whatever you've got should be absolutely fine. As the sausages are finishing, you probably want to turn your oven up as well to about 220. You want it nice and hot, and you want to preheat some oil in these dishes. Now you can use vegetable oil, you can use sunflower oil. I use crisp and dry rapeseed oil. I just find it's one of the best, but whatever you've got again. And actually you don't want to put too much in the base of each one. I just put a splash in I find if you put too much in, it makes the bottom of the Yorkshire pudding quite soggy and quite oily. So what we're going to do is pop that in the oven as well, just to preheat for about 5 minutes. So we've got our Yorkshire pudding batter from earlier on. I'm just going to get the sausages out of the oven. As you can see, they're par cooked. And also, very carefully, the hot oil that's in the trays. You've just got to be exceptionally careful, because obviously it's quite hot at this stage. So I'm just going to put half the mix in each tray, just roughly. Sometimes it'll bubble around the edges, that's a good sign, but don't worry if it doesn't. And then carefully place the sausages in. Now, Yorkshire pudding can be a bit of a tricky one, and you never really know if it's going to rise, so I always have my fingers crossed. The key bit is once I put it back in the oven, I can't open the oven until it's cooked. If you open the oven, all the heat goes out and the Yorkshire pudding drops. So, fingers crossed, and in we go for about 15 or 16 minutes. So that critical moment we find out, has our Yorkshire pudding risen or not? Here we go. Well, yeah, I think we're going to be okay. So, there we go. And you want your sausages nicely browned. The Yorkshire pudding will always sink a bit, but that looks good, so let's plate it up. And there we have our toad in the hole, and like I say, it's an optional thing, but a little bit of gravy on top, and it's lovely. Thank you for joining me tonight in Clovenstone Kitchen. We're off to enjoy these and probably fight over seconds. Join us next time, another Clovey staff member will be cooking along with you. Thank you, bye.